this. Great leaders exhibit certain traits and know they need to work on their relationships to be successful. Who hasn't heard or read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People? It was the first self-help book of its time, and its principles still hold true today. In fact, its principles helped launch the Dale Carnegie training program. I sat down with Joe Hart, the president and CEO of Dale Carnegie Training, at the C-Suite conference in Boston to see how a 104-year-old company with an iconic history can still remain relevant in today's ever-changing world. How they are able to deliver training programs that are consistent across a global franchise network, and why it takes a real leader to be a great leader. What are some of the consequences of being inauthentic?
The consequences are wide-ranging, and we've seen, actually, it's interesting, we conducted some research. It was originally in the US and Brazil. We've now broadened it all over the world, Asia, Europe, et cetera. And what we found is that one of the single greatest factors for people being demotivated, for being disengaged, is inauthentic leadership. When people can tell when someone is not reliable, either internally to themselves, they're doing something they don't believe in, they're not acting out of a position of integrity, et cetera. So the first and greatest consequence of that is you have a breakdown of trust. And where there's a breakdown of trust, everything else is difficult. I mean, that's the foundation for any relationship.
Can you measure that on the bottom line in terms of being that leadership being ineffective and inauthentic?
Yeah, we actually at Dale Carnegie have some indices that we use to look at, and how do you compare different kinds of behaviors or different kinds of things that will happen in a business to ROI, to hard dollar costs, et cetera.
So a real formula that says, hey, we're going to lose millions or thousands of dollars.
As much as you can. I mean, some of this is an inexact science, as you would guess, but no, there are some things that you can quantify.
Yeah, sure. In your research, what's the typical things that you find that employees care about the most?
So we did this research I just mentioned, and there were 4 things that came up. And these 4 things were the ones that consistently across borders people would say, when I see these, I am more motivated, and when I don't see these, I am demotivated. The first one, and we actually call this real leadership.
Real leadership. I was going to ask you about that.
It's REAL. And the first one really goes to this point of reliability, right? Is someone internally reliable? Are they authentic? Are they true to themselves? And externally reliable? Are they consistent? Do they do what they say that they're going to do? Or do they say one thing and do another? So this reliability is something that everyone is looking for, particularly the millennial generation. They're looking for something to believe in.
You think it's that much different with the millennial generation? I mean, look, I want to believe in real people. And I'm much older, but don't you think that's inherent in most people?
It is inherent in most people, no question. It would seem that the tolerance level millennials have is a little bit lower
and
for inauthentic behavior.
And they're speaking out a lot more about it.
They are, absolutely.
So, talk to me about the traits that great leaders have. I mean, because Dale Carnegie has trained, some of the greatest
8 million
people. A million people, but just some of the greatest C-suite leaders that I've known. What are some of the great leadership capabilities or characteristics that you see?
Yeah, so I mentioned reliability being one. Another is being empathetic. And this actually ties into the first characteristic too. It demonstrates that I want to listen to what you have to say, Jeffrey. What you say is important. I care, and so forth. And it's a really important way to build a collaborative culture, is to actually, we believe that people will support a world that they help create. So actually having empathy and caring.
This has been Executive Perspectives with Jeffrey Hayzlett. I've been visiting with Joe Hart, President and CEO of Dale Carnegie.